Okay, well, welcome back, guys, to the Wise Mindset Guy podcast. I'm your host, Nat Plastino, and thank you once again for tuning into my show. Once again, I have my delicate wife, beautiful wife, here with me today on the show, and we're going to talk about something that some people do talk about a lot in January. At the time where this podcast will be in January when you hear it, but most podcasters will talk about this in December, and it's about New Year's Eve resolutions. Now, sometimes people don't want to talk about this because it means that they have to set these goals that they don't want to do. But majority of people will say, well, I need these to have these certain goals that I plan to do next year, and I'm going to stick to it. But the problem is the majority of us do not stick to these goals. And I'm going to get to tease my wife's brain about why is that? So once again, Cynthia, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nato. I feel very happy to be here again.
Yes.
And this question is like, I think you remember we were talking about that. I think a lot of people actually start talking about New Year resolution. Because, well, at least the people that I know, they say, oh, this year's going to be different. Or even myself, I remember saying this for a while. For a long time ago, I used to have a New Year resolution.
Right.
Now I don't. You know that I don't. I don't. Well, I will explain why I don't, but I think it's because people believe or whatever is in our unconscious that is a start, right?
People
Is
want to
a
start and then
yes, but because we are so caught off with this time frame that they were imposed
pushing on
on
us,
us.
even though time isn't really linear, it goes in many directions, right?
Yeah, because if you start to think like the year, actually nothing happened. It's just a new day, just the
Mm-hmm.
same old, same old, same old. It just
Correct.
like could be your same old, same old, same old. I'm not saying it is, but I
Yeah,
think
it's like from the perspective of December the 31st to January 1st is only just skipping over like a matter of hours, and it's not doesn't really make a difference, really.
yeah, but is this proof how much we are caught off on what it's being said to us or
Mm-hmm.
whatever our mind is conditioned to believe that I'm going to do something different. Like if a person doesn't do nothing different, nothing will change. It's not about the year. It's about
Correct.
you stick with whatever you decide to do it or pose in
Right.
your mind or whatever, right? So I don't like that. And why people, so you ask a question for me, so why people don't stick with, I think
Yep.
because is it's because the person doesn't change. The
Right.
year change, but the calendar and the paper change, but the person doesn't change. You still with your old mentality, behavior patterns, that if you don't start to think about your homework or your conscious spending your conscious, you will keep doing the same old. And I think
Yeah.
there is a research about it. I remember listening to this a while ago that a lot of like the higher like rates of you go to membership for a gym, for instance, it's
Mm-hmm.
January. Like people
Right.
like, oh, you go and you go the first January, February, March, and then just like sky like it lowered the rate of people are going because you
Yeah.
believe that you are going to do something just because the year changing. This is not true.
Yeah, like you get that membership, sorry, to the gym. You say, okay, I bought the membership. That means I'm gonna stick to it, right? Because I bought it, and then that means it's gonna happen. But then, of course, life happens, and things get in the way, and then you say, well, maybe I'll start in a week, and then 2 weeks, and sometimes people don't even go at all, right? So I think one thing is one of the reasons that people have problems in New Year's resolutions is because the goals are unrealistic. So when they say
Mhm.
that many resolutions are overly ambitious, making them difficult to achieve, like say for instance, I'm going to lose 50 pounds in a month. So okay, well, you could lose 50 pounds in a month if you like starve yourself or maybe like fast for, but then again, is it really realistic? Because you're saying I lose the weight, but then how fast is it going to come back, right? On
Mm.
me, is it going to stay off, right?
Yeah, and I remember I was very um, I used to do that a lot in my life, and I see the
I think
pattern,
we
and I
all
see
do.
why,
I
and
think we
I
all
see
do that though.
right, and I see why we do it. And I'm not here judging because I've been there and
No.
I know. But what I think like if I could say we didn't plan this, if I could say if I give like people love to have 5 mistakes that you have done or whatever. One of those mistakes that I think now I understand that I did for many times in my life is we have to break in chunks. You don't go and sit and do what I'm going to do this year, 2025. Okay.
Right.
So you put this set of goals that is unrealistic for your capability of stick with the plan, or maybe it's actually even not real. You're not capable of that. It's not nothing to do with your ability, but it's not if you people we need to come back to earth. I used to say that we need
Yes.
to come back and like, okay, this is realistic. It's going to be changed too much my style or my life, my values or whatever. And
Right.
then you have to go in like 3 months. Like, okay, what I'm gonna do in January to March. Then you set up some goals there. And then you plan as you go, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I did one of the course when I did the project management course. This stick to my life and was very interesting. I remember a teacher said to us, "How we eat a elephant,
Mm-hmm.
right? How we can eat an elephant, like
Right.
one bite at the time."
Correct. Yeah.
So slowly, slowly. And I remember I want to use that 20 pounds or whatever amount. I want that fast. I want in that month. It's not
Right.
realistic. You probably can do that if you do unhealthy style, but you don't. Do you have the ability to keep the weight off,
Right.
right? Or when I'm working on my business now, and it's very important to set up the goals and see like, okay, what I'm going to do in the next 3 months, the next a month, weekly. You have to do
Right.
weekly, and you have to go back and check, are you
Yeah.
doing what you're supposed to do?
And that's one of the things. There's a lack of planning, right? So it's about without a step by step plan, it's hard to know how to progress or what actions to actually take to get there, right?
For
So
sure.
step by step plan is like you just don't say I'm going to do 50 pounds in a month. I'm going to say 50 pounds is my goal, but I'm going to do like 5% better every day to get there. So I'm going to make sure I get on that treadmill like 3 times a day, 3 times a week, or 4 times a week. What it's going
Right.
to take, or even like consult somebody who knows what they're talking about, because we don't actually know ourselves how to get there. So we have to consult and ask someone who knows, or who's more an expert in that field.
Yeah. And this is one of the also old mistakes that I used to do, that I thought I could do everything alone by myself. And most likely, there is a chance that you can. I'm not saying people cannot do it, but when you hire someone specific or for a nutritionist, or I'm just
Yeah.
talking about weight loss, but it's not about that, or business consulting, or a business coach, whatever you decide to do it, you're that person, they are specific on that field. So they
Right.
being, hopefully you hire someone that knows what your um, struggles are, that you
Mm-hmm.
can. It's very important to get my point is, it's very important to have someone accountable.
Yes.
I noticed that how my mentality shift when I understood that I chose to have someone helping me in some part of my life.
Along the way,
Because
yeah. So like, yeah,
you could, you probably, you might can be able to do alone, but it takes so long. So you're
right.
basically paying for the time for do
Hmm.
faster, a nutritionist or a personal trainer or a business coach, or because they know they have the ability to treat with, to talk to people, and the ability to know what the mistakes that people are making and make
Yeah.
your mistakes make your progress faster.
But
But
at least hopefully they
until,
have experience. As long as they have experience,
of
like
course, yes, we
if
hope.
they've been a yeah, if they were a personal trainer for only a week, then okay, then maybe you want to
No,
find
no,
somebody.
and also like we are not even going talked about that, because nowadays you know that you open your social media and you see a bunch of advertisement there, and you do a lot of people like go and do. We are in this moment of life that people are like go do stuff, right? Like that. It's also very dangerous when I see this doing. I think sometimes people are just like, they are not actually looking inside and see what they are hiding, that they need to be doing stuff all the time.
Right.
I understand that we need accountability. We need to have a step by step, like like a planning, right?
Right.
But
Correct.
we're not machines.
No. No. Well,
We are not machines.
unfortunately, people want immediate results, right?
Yes, but like we are not
And
machine,
it's a
and we
major
are
issue.
not.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be this. I know we smart, like need to be measurement, need to be. I understand that, but sometimes it's scary when you see a lot of advertisement on the internet that people, and it depend how you are inside of yourself, how insecure, and how you're not doing your work or internal work, knowing
Right.
yourself.
So again, also there's I mean, I think where you're going with this is that there's an external pressure. You know, resolutions are, you know, they're made due to societal peer pressure. So I again, like,
Mm,
we're bombarded with social media, right? That
mm,
social media is saying, okay, for instance, they'll say, like, when it comes to finance,
mm,
people will look at people on social media. They will say, okay, well, that person has this fancy car, this beautiful home, and I need to have the same thing because that's what society is asking for us, asking of us, right? So
mm.
I need to get it, and I need to get it as soon as possible. I don't want to wait for it. But if you ask any financial advisor, they'll always tell you that finance doesn't come quickly. I mean, sometimes it does. If you win the lottery, okay, great, no problem. But it happens over a period of time. It could take like 20 years to get to a good financial status. But people look at get that pressure from social media, and they'll say, okay, I need to have it now. I don't want to wait 20 years. I want it now because everyone out there is having fun and I'm not. So I have to do it now, right?
Because it's very interesting if you talk about the word success, right? Because it's very individual. Like what
Yes.
it success means to you, it might be totally different for me.
Yes, exactly. So like, you said also, one thing we should always look into is um, old habits are hard to break, right? So changing deeply ingrained habits requires, consistent effort and often feels very uncomfortable, right? So where I'm going with this is basically like, I guess we can say our ego kind of like keeps us safe always, and it's telling us, stay under the covers. You don't need to get up. You can push the snooze button on a regular basis, but we're always pushing the snooze button, not just literally when we're waking up in the morning, but when we're doing other things. Like we get home from work, we know we have to do something. We know we have to do the laundry, or we have to do something else. It's important, but we say, okay, I'm going to push the snooze button and I'm just going to sit on the couch and just watch Netflix, for instance. Nothing wrong with watching TV. We know you and I, we have our shows we watch and something's great, but we don't let it overwhelm us throughout the week to say, okay, we're going to spend 3 hours a day watching like streaming, right? We want to make sure that we're doing our goals every day, a little bit at a time. I
Yeah.
would believe that.
Yeah, because think about it. Change a habit. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. Like,
Yes.
you're reading now the Atomic Habits, right? That I told you. And I
Yes.
listened a while ago and I'm backing listen again. And I really like the approach that he brings in that book.
In Atomic Habits.
Yes,
Yes.
because it's slowly something is at 1%. It's 1% a day. Then he give a lot of examples how there was the example about the bamboo. I don't think I'm gonna remember like exactly,
The
but like the
bamboo,
bamboo.
how it grows. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how like many years, I think it's 6 years. I don't recall.
I think so. Yeah. So basically, if anyone doesn't know, it means that the bamboo, when you plant bamboo, it you don't see anything for like 4 or 5 years, like nothing at all, or even 6 years, and then all of a sudden it sprouts, and then it's just like it shoots up like a rocket, like over a very small period of time. But those first 5 years, nothing happens, and so that's kind of like what we go through, right? We say, okay, I want to start a business, or I want to start an exercise routine, and then we don't see results immediately,
Mm,
but in doing the work on a daily basis will get us there. I mean, when I first started the blog, I wasn't getting any traffic at all. Like it was like zero. It was like crickets, like just nothing at all. But then after 6 months, a little bit started, and over a year, and now I get, I'm getting thousands of viewers, readers a month. So, but in the beginning, it was like 20 readers a month. So
mm,
it's like, okay, but I mean, again, it takes time for
mm,
your information, your data to get out there in the world, and people to retrieve it, and then it comes to that kind of idea comes to everything, works on everything.
mm. Yeah, because we are focused on the result, not on the
Yes,
process.
immediate
And it's
results.
very, yeah, it's very easy to focus on the result. So you want the money now, you want the
Mm-hmm.
followers now, whatever is followers is important to a person. You
Right.
want the weight off. Do you want to look good now? We
Yeah.
are the society that is instant gratification. Is that correct? The
Instant
pronunciation?
gratification. Right.
Yeah, so you see, like we see this with the kids, though they don't. They want everything right now, right now. We don't want to wait, and it's
Right.
uncomfortable waiting. Like think about it. It is. No,
It's
don't.
very uncomfortable. Yeah.
We
It's very
shouldn't
uncomfortable to
come
wait.
here and say that is not fun because sometimes it's not fun waiting. Not fun. You see the results. Yes, it's not. But if you're focused on the results, chances
Mm-hmm.
are that by March you cancel your membership, or even worse, you keep paying but you don't
You keep
go.
paying. Yeah, you don't go. Right. That's even worse. I've known
I
people who do
remember,
that. I know people
but
who
I
do that. Like,
remember a girl that I used to work. We used to go to the same gym, and then after I didn't see her anymore there, and then but we used to work together. And then one day I like said, "What's happened? I don't see you anymore there." She says, "Yeah, my knee hurts and yada yada yada." I said, I
yeah.
know, but for how long you not going? She said, like 4 months. And I said, but did you cancel? And she said, no. I said, why you didn't cancel? And I
Right.
remember she said, well, because there is a part of our mind that believe I'm going back. If I cancel, I know 100% I'm not going back. But if I keep
Yeah.
paying, maybe one day I'm going. So like, okay, it is interesting what she's saying. At least
Right.
she was able to put in words because this
Correct.
basically what we do.
Yeah.
We do
Right.
that. We just keep paying for something or whatever. And this is the membership of the gym like stick in my head. So I was like, no. I remember I canceled my membership to the gym because I'm doing something else. And I just canceled right away. I said, no, 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 this is not working for me this time. So it's just like, why I'm gonna losing money or spend
Yeah.
money on
Yeah.
something that I'm not using.
Yeah. It also, I mean, it's we rely on our willpower, right? But it's not a It's not always about willpower. Um, it's willpower is limited. We can't just say, okay, I'm going to quit. And if you, let's say you have to quit smoking, if you just say, oh, I'm going to quit today, and then that's it, done. It doesn't mean that you're still not going to get the craving for that cigarette. It's still going to be there. It's in your system for a long time, especially if you've been smoking for many years. So some people can do it, but the discipline is not always the same on everyone. Everyone has different
It's,
forms of
it's
discipline.
not even about the discipline. I'm taking the certification for aroma therapist,
Yeah.
and there was one subject we are studying about the psychological effects of the aroma of the scents in our brain, right?
Okay.
And then there is this guy, uh, I forgot his name, but I will find the name and then you put in a show because I think it's fascinating what he does. He was a medical doctor, and then and then he was working in psychiatric, but then he shift his work with working with essential oils and if the chemicals of these essential oils can affect our body.
Correct. Yeah.
And when we have addiction, according to him, and I think I agree with him, there is a part of us that he loves young too, so he makes a little bit of a psychological effect in our brain.
So Carl Jung.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I
Okay.
call him young.
Yeah.
So that when we have an addiction, according to him, there is a part of us that we are not really honest in our we are apart from our essence,
We're separate from the sense.
separate from what actually we meant to do or we meant to be, and
Okay.
then you hide under this umbrella of addiction. Of
Yeah.
course, there is other reason for addiction. I'm not
Right.
saying this is the only reason. Like sometimes people hide from the trauma, and then, or you don't want to face things that you have in your life, and you just start eating more, drinking more, sex, whatever is your addiction, right? So, and then he was explaining that when we smell, he was giving tricks like when you smell something, a sense of something that will trigger your memory, something
Right.
that happened to you when you were a child, or your mother used to cook with thyme, for instance, because we talk about plants and herbs and stuff like that, right? And this brings to you the memory of a happiness.
Right.
Our brain, our lymphatic system has memory there.
Right.
It's a sense memory that we can activate it with some chemicals that use for odor, like for use for smell, right? So
Hmm.
going back to what you said about the addiction, he believes that there is some addiction that we can replace the addiction, if it's correct say that, I don't think is the right word,
Yeah.
with
I think the audience will understand. By replacing the addiction. Yeah. Okay.
because we need to when it's not even simple, it's not so simple to stop an addiction, is you need a psychological part of that, because why people are addicted to something, make you feel good
Right.
instantaneously, like whatever, if you smoke, like, but then they have the side effect after what,
Yeah.
especially if you're trying to stop,
Correct.
because then you feel bad because you did, like you give an example of the smoke, right?
Yeah. I think one idea, if I can cut you off a moment, I can't remember his name, but I was watching a show once about the guy. He talks about the Madeleine cookies. There's this there's this kind of cookies called Madeleines, and they're like a French cookie, French butter cookie. So there's this one guy who he when he did this book, I believe, where he said that he when he smelled the cookie, it brought him back to his childhood, and he could remember every single part of his childhood based on the fact that when he was most happiest when he was eating the Madeleine cookies as a child. I guess the mother would give him these cookies as a sign of reward or something for being a good kid, and so he would always have a positive memory over these cookies. So I guess that's what comes down to, scents. Like the scents give us a positivity. The aroma, if it's lavender, it could be spearmint. There's something in that aroma that brings a positive, like childhood memory, a positive memory in general, to be to
Because
to
you
be to be
already
happy.
have, we already have this memory in your brain. This is my
Correct.
point. You already have. So, for instance, we are studying, I'm studying for to take the certification, right? Then
Yeah.
one of the trick that we use, the teacher said to us, and this is not like it's a scientific proof. There is a scientific studies done on this. While you're studying, you smell a fragrance. So because
Right.
I have the ability to create blends, so I create a blend, a specific blend that I can use a nasal inhaler. And every time I'm studying, I'm doing this. When I'm going to have the test, I can have the same blend. It will have the ability to help me remember what I was doing that time. I'm not saying we shouldn't study. It's not about that. But our brain is has the memory, like
Right.
stick with the memory, and especially sometimes people who was being abused.
Yeah.
There is an example of that one research was a person. She grew up in a lavender field, and then
Yeah.
she has an aunt that used to poke her with the lavender, right?
With the
That
stems or
person
with
with
the
the
actual
stem.
uh,
Say
the stem
again.
of the stem of the plant?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Mean aunt used to do that. That
Okay.
person can stand lavender.
Because it's a
It's
negative.
actually the lavender? No, but it's the memory that she has that the aunt used to do that on her that she can. So this is why sometimes when you're creating a blend to a customer, we have to ask, is there any sense that you don't like it,
Like,
that
right.
you hate it? Because you're for creating a sense for a therapeutic standpoint for a person to help, and if the person hates the sense, she won't use that blend.
Well, it'd be disastrous, right?
She
So if
won't
you did,
use.
right.
So
Right.
why this is very important? Our brain is fascinated. The more I study, more I know I don't know anything about it,
Mm-hmm.
and more
Yeah.
you just frustrated. Not frustrated in a sense that, but we are so
Yeah. Magnified by the idea of sense, right?
yes,
Yeah.
it's just like
Amazing. Yeah.
fascinated.
So getting back to the goals, right? I mean, so
I know. You see
I guess
how we go off track.
no,
Sorry.
it's still it's everything is connected. So we're just remember it's just like having coffee, having conversation, right? So hopefully the audience will be appreciative to many stories and so forth. But I mean, getting to the other goals for this podcast for this episode. Um, so what are your goals this year for yourself?
What are my goals this year? I have a few. Was my goals for this year is the same that was for last year. So
Hmm.
nothing has changed
Right.
a little bit. I
Yeah.
think now we're more mature,
It's
more
so it's a more continuous basis or just new stuff?
continue with I'm hopefully before I would say April, I'm going to have my aromatherapist certification because I
So you got to
really
push
believe.
hard. So you have to push hard.
Sorry,
You have to
say
push hard
again.
for it, right? You have to
Yes,
push hard for it. I mean,
I will push very hard for it, and is and telling for people out there because at least that school that I chose to go is established in BC, British Columbia,
right.
because there is a misconceptions about everything in life, but I'm talking specific about aroma, about all essential essential oils, because
Right.
unfortunately today there is a lot of misinformation out there, especially with two big companies that is
Yeah.
huge now in the market. I'm not
We don't have
saying
to
their
mention. Yeah.
names,
Right. But we know who
but
they are.
it's huge, and they mislead people regarding people taking orally the
Hmm.
medication,
Yeah.
sorry, the essential oils. So then people are not informed how the chemicals of the essential oils can really affect you in a good way and in a bad way as well.
Right. Right.
Because we shouldn't be taking essential oil, especially here in North America. We are not training to have oral
Consumption.
intake, right?
Yeah. Consumption. Yeah.
Because there is a lot of things can happen with our stomach,
Yeah.
the mucus of the stomachs. But nowadays, when I see some people putting information on there, they put drops of essential oils in the water. The first
Yeah.
thing that comes to my mind, like water, the oil and the water doesn't mix,
Hmm.
right? When I see people putting a drop, 3 drops of water,
Yeah.
3 drops, when I see people putting 3 drops of essential oils in the water
And then
and
drinking
drinking
it.
this in the morning, and
Hmm.
like, when, remember, we study, everybody remember studied this in a kid, water and oil doesn't mix together. You need a
Right.
emulsifier to
Right.
put them together. And then
Right.
people are, you learn a course, you go in a weekend course, you learn that you can put water and essential oils and drink, and then you reproduce this information and then become a
You're missing.
misconception that you can drink the essential oils. And then
You're
what's happened,
misinformed. Yeah.
sometimes it can affect your stomach, and then what you're going to say, oh, the essential oils is bad for you. No.
Right.
First of all, you need to know where you get this information, right?
Right.
And then there is a lot of essential oils that is produced with they add stuff. You can go to the
Right.
pharmacy now and buy essential oil, but the
Correct.
oil needs to be stored in a cold. And if you see
Refrigerated.
essential oils in a shelf, seriously, you can buy that oil. Is like need to be in a cold place.
Yeah. Refrigerated.
So yes, that being said, answering your question, I'm going to finish my certification as aromatherapist because my goal is to use the essential oils that is beautiful therapeutic. That is the possibility you can
Has
raise
healing
your
properties. Has healing properties in many
breathe. Yes,
ways.
there is
Yeah.
beautiful properties, therapeutic properties.
Yeah. And then you're going to use that with your clients.
Correct. So
Yeah.
one of the goals is use that with my clients with radiesthesia. That is another technique that I use for clean your aura, assess more the subtle energy. So
Subtle
this is
energy.
one of
Right.
my goals for this year. I think it
Hmm.
took so long to answer your question. How about you? I would like to know your goals for 2025.
Well, I mean, like like in December, you mentioned about taking a psychology course, and that would be a good idea for me. And then so I looked into it, and again, it is expensive, but I mean, it is a long-term investment. So something like that, it's only a couple of days a month, right, where I'm on Zoom call for like 5 hours. That would be a great opportunity for me to learn a little more about the psychology expert, and it's people we know, like people we read about, right, who are involved in this organization. So I feel comfortable that they would provide the right information that I need to go forward, and then so you and I can do our thing in the future. Our life goal that we have planned for the future, and I think it'd be a great opportunity for me. Again, exercising more, of course, will be something I would want to do more of, at least more often. Working on muscle toning and so forth. Eating better, of course. Watching less the phone, watching less streaming, less that would
Mm,
be a big thing for me, of course, this year. And
that is
I think
understood.
the audience in general would, like, those kind of things are imperative to getting the right mindset shift. I mean, to get there, to the right goals for anybody to do amazing things. And you and I, since we started going in this direction, this better positive direction, we've seen results. We do see results. They're there. Anything's possible, but you need to keep going, and you need to stick to it. And once you do that, the magic happens. You'll start to see the results you want. Again, it doesn't happen right away, but trust me, when 1% better every day makes a huge difference in 5 years, 10 years, and so forth. And you'll be much more happier, I believe.
It's true. It's not even about happiness, right? Remember when we talk about
Correct. It's
about
about
meaningful,
it's about
right?
meaning. Meaning is
Meaning
everything.
and because happiness is just like is about meaning. I think right now, after like I'm turning 45 this year, I start to feel that I'm in the right directions that I'm meant to be. There is a lot of stepstones and will be more. We know will be. It's
Right.
not, but I feel more confident in my skin right now. I feel more aware. It's very important to be aware, right?
Yeah. And because we study a lot of psychology, we read a lot of books on psychology. We're not experts or anything, but we do read
Yeah.
more than most people. But I think that when it comes to New Year's resolutions, the main issue is our ego. Our ego always tries to keep us safe, and it says to us, you don't need to go there. You don't need to do that. It's too cold outside, or so forth, or any kind of excuse. Your ego is always trying to give you an excuse to not do. But the thing is that our ego is important for us, to keep us safe. It's part of our brain and so forth. But again, we have to go beyond that. We have to go beyond the fears that we have implanted in us. And once we get past those fears, we can do almost anything.
Yeah, agree and disagree.
Mhm.
Because I think the fear is always come back
It does
in
come,
a different
but it's
way.
always there. The fear is
It's
always
always
there.
there. And
It's
the
just how we overcome it.
self-doubt,
Yeah.
the self-doubt too, right? Because okay, you start because we always trying to do something new, right? And I think this is the fear that hold me and a lot of people back because it's so uncertain, right? It
Yeah.
is an unknown. You don't know the results. You don't know like, and then sometimes we self-guessing ourselves, our ability. We are not into with our intuition, with our higher self. So it's very important to go back and have this time, this minutes of meditation or whatever you guys call to
Need.
do. But there is a voice inside of you. If you start to shut down all the noises that they have around,
Yeah.
we because I
And
think
there's a
in
lot of
the
noise. There's a lot of noise in our heads, always, constantly.
we I don't know. I have the impression, Nato, that if people start to go deep in themselves, deep and deep and deep,
Deeper,
they
yes.
know what they have to do,
Yes, they do.
but they don't
We all
do
we all
it.
know we all know what we have to do. Just a matter of doing it.
Yeah, we don't do why because we're afraid. We don't do because we don't know what people are gonna think about us. We don't do because for several reasons
We want to
because
stay
we
comfortable.
have to pay
We want to stay
the
comfortable.
bill.
We want to stay comfortable. We want things that are certain. We want things that are guaranteed, and there's no guarantees in life. You have to
No.
make the guarantee. You have to make those things happen. Once you make those things happen, then magic happens again. Like I
And then
said,
also the media doesn't help us, right?
no,
Because
no.
you see so much information, you get so like caught off with so much information. Like who cares what people are doing? And anyway, okay.
Yeah. So I basically, at the end of the show, I'd say that to overcome any of these challenges in life that we have, it's important to set realistic, specific goals, create a plan that you need to get
Yeah.
that goal happen, make the goal happen, track your progress on a regular basis. Like you said, also Cynthia, have an accountability partner, someone like, that can help you along the way. Make sure you're going along, make sure you're keeping to your goal. And then also, again, be kind to yourself. And,
Hmm.
challenges will happen, setbacks will happen. It's okay. Just keep going.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Okay. Well, thanks everyone for joining on the episode of the Wise Mindset Guy podcast. If you like this episode, please share with a friend, family member, anybody who just wants a nice boost to hear about New Year's resolutions. And we'll talk again later. Thank you again, Cynthia, for joining us.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you, Nato. Bye.
Ciao, ciao for now.
Yeah.